Hey there, rock and rollers. You're watching Classic Rock Record Review with Gabe. Today, I'm going to review the record everyone's been talking about. Going for a pony ride. That's right, we're talking about Renaissance by Beyonce. Mary, do you like Beyonce?
My song is on and on though.
Your song is On and On and On.
Yeah.
On and On and On by ABBA. That's your favorite song, isn't it? It sure is. Okay. Well, so we're talking about Renaissance
Wow.
now. Okay. Now, on two separate occasions at the last minute, someone called me, two different people. One is my dad's friend Chris, one is my friend Josh, with, hey, I've got an extra ticket to see Zappa play Zappa in like a half hour. You want to come with? And so I ended up seeing, Frank Zappa's son Dweezil and a rotating cast with perhaps some Frank Zappa alumnus, Steve Vai, Derry Bozio, Napoleon Murphy, Brock, those kind of guys. Have a big old jam session where they do a bunch of Frank Zappa hits. I love you too, Mary. And one of those times, Dweezil Zappa was going on this rant, one of these, like pop music sucks kind of rants where he mentioned Beyonce several times and was, basically saying, my dad's long-winded, incredibly silly, self-indulgent music needs more attention than it gets because, people like Beyonce are blowing up the airwaves with their catchy chart-topping chart toppers. And, it sure is unfair that, my dad's old, commercially not viable music about urinating in snow and stuff like that is not blowing up the airwaves. And I've heard a few times nonsense come up where Beyonce is compared to like a white musician, and someone tries to make the case that the white musician is such a better musician than Beyonce. There was like a meme when Beck won a Grammy for Morning Phase or whatever, and people are like, who's Beck? Beyonce should have gotten the album of the year or whatever. And who's this old Beck dude? And there's this meme that's like, Beck writes all his own songs and he plays 9 instruments. And he is such a better musician than Beyonce, who doesn't play an instrument and has, 10 people write each song. And I just want to say that type of thinking it's either rooted in, white peopleism or rooted in, pop music isn't serious music. Music needs to be difficult and unpleasant, or else it's just not music, And I'm not all about that at all. I think that Milli Vanilli was a far better artist than Bob Dylan, and I'm always going to stand by that, and people are going to say that that's sacrilege, but I will listen to Milli Vanilli 10 times before I'll listen to Bob Dylan. And back to where we're going with this. Renaissance, okay? So, I'm going to say, first of all, it's a great album. I like it. Best album since, at least the best, big old commercial album since the last couple Taylor Swift albums. And I will say that there are A albums and they are A+ albums. And Renaissance is an A album. I'll tell you why. Okay. So, Beyonce, if you want to feel old, because you're, put down millennials and stuff, realize that millennials are getting to be, in their 40s right now. I'm 41. Bay is 40, and about to turn 41 in less than a month. We were born the same age, 1981. Me, the double Jizzy, and Bay, we're not young. We're millennials. We're old. We're geriatric millennials. And I gotta say, it's good that people are, giving an album by a quadragenarian so much attention. I mean, I don't think that has really happened a bunch since, well, that Fiona Apple record a couple years ago. Aside from that, it hasn't been since like Tom Petty and Bonnie Raitt that there were like people in their 40s like blowing up the charts with hot new music. Well, I guess Pharrell was probably like 40 when he, had his happy thing, so I don't know. Old farts have hit records sometimes. But anyways, Renaissance. So Renaissance is kind of like a celebration of oh, did baby Grandpa Hot Tea fall off his bicycle? And you're helping him out? A celebration of dance music from like the past 50 years or something. So you got your disco, you got your 80s stuff, you got your 90s house, you got your 2000s stuff. And bunch of producers, bunch of songwriters. Most songs have like 10 songwriters. But, for all you haters out there, Bey is usually one of those 10 songwriters, so,
Bumped off a bike.
Oh, okay. Alright, Maradiddle. So, like, if you're one of those people that thinks that, like, an album has to have, like, a bunch of songs that are written by just one songwriter, and it's the guy who sings it, then good for you. Throw away all your Elvis Presley records. Throw away your Buddy Holly records. Those are written by a team. Throw away your Motown records. Your favorite Jackson 5 records are credited to the corporation. I mean, so, let's see. So Renaissance, back to Renaissance. Okay, so something I really like about the album is that it is gapless. A gapless transition from one song to the next. It is fairly reminiscent of Confessions on a Dance Floor, that Madonna record from like 15 years ago, that I consider to be the last good Madonna record that I am aware of. Great record. If you haven't listened to it, give it a copy. Give it a listen. That's what I meant. Yeah, give it a listen. Except the version that's on Apple Music is strangely not gapless, but it's still a good listen. So yeah, this is like Bey's Confessions on a Dance Floor, basically. And if I want to talk about the big hit from it, Break My Soul. Okay, cool thing about the song is that it is based on a chopped up sample of Robin S.'s brilliant 1993 hit, Show Me Love. And it is like a 1993 house party anthem. Great song. And there are in fact some even better songs on the album. Like the one that really speaks my language is Cuff It. And when you listen to it, you will be overcome with a few thoughts, such as, hey, isn't this like a rewrite of Get Lucky? And like, I am sure this was written by Nile Rodgers. This has all the hallmarks of a Nile Rodgers song. So, Nile Rodgers, think about, such hit songs as Upside Down and the aforementioned Get Lucky. You got Nile Rodgers. And sure enough, he's one of like 5 or 6 songwriters on the cut. Another being Beyonce, another being a couple people I haven't heard of, and one of them being Raphael Sadiq. A name very familiar to you, if you are fans of Raphael Sadiq, or if you're an old fart and you're fans of Tony from back in the day, you might remember Raphael Sadiq as being the lead singer of Tony, who went by his birth name of Raphael Wiggins back then. Excellent musician, excellent songwriter, great voice, and when you get Bey, and Raphael Wiggins and Nile Rodgers together in a room and have them make a song, you get a real banger. And like it has, you know, the basic groove of like, Get Lucky, but even better because it's got like an even better melody that plays to Beyonce's strings and betcha you see stars, do 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 do, just a, you know, explosively gorgeous melody. And we got that throughout the record. We got a bunch of guests, a bunch of producers, and you know some of the guests are, you know, some new school kids and stuff. Some of them are some medium school kids like you know, Raphael Sadiq and stuff. But we've got some old legacy artists on there too. At least one I can think of, Grace Jones. Grace Jones is on the record. Beyonce raps a surprising amount on the record. It's not all singing, and she can hold her own on the mic. So it's a great listen. Best record I've heard in a while. And this goes for, you know, both big budget commercial releases, and this goes for you know, KEXP type stuff. I mean, this is better than most of those or all of those, you know, hip acts out there. But why not an A+? So one reason is because I feel that the multiple producer, multiple songwriter committee thing is a bit played out, and I don't know. I mean, you can get some good music that way, but I feel like the record could have been even better if, you know, you just stuck to a few people. Like if you take, you know, go back in time and listen to Diana by Diana Ross. The only songwriters you got on the record, as far as I know, you got Ross, you got Nile Rodgers, and you got Bernard Edwards, and they made that record themselves. Like Control, Rhythm Nation, that is almost all Janet, along with Jam and Lewis. Thriller, quite a few songwriters. About half the record written by Michael Jackson himself. Just one producer, though, Quincy Jones. Give it a unified feel. But the other thing that keeps it from being an A+ to me is, and this is going to be a surprising one, is way too much profanity. And you're probably saying, but wait a minute, man, you're a 2 Live Crew fan. And, like, that's true. But profanity was their whole shtick. And there are some, you know, shock jock type artists and stuff who just, you know, that's part of their whole shtick. But Renaissance is a mainstream commercial release, and I feel like we have got this, you know, like endemic going on of overuse of profanity in our culture. Like our elementary kids, 3rd graders and stuff, just like, you hear those guys on the playground? Come on, it's like South Park. But if we wonder why is that happening, it's because, like in Idiocracy, in the future, there's profanity in advertisements and stuff, and we've gotten to that place. And so with Renaissance, like these incredibly catchy songs that should be hits are just loaded up with F-bombs and stuff. And like, I understand that when you're an artist, you need to have a little bit of edge, and you need to have that little E symbol next to your songs just to assure people that you're not playing Christian rock or something. But like we've got like Cuff It, my favorite song on the record. So that's a song, you know, Nile Rodgers and Raphael Sadiq co-wrote it. And you know, the hook of the song, like, we gonna fuck up the night, and the song is just loaded with potty talk. And it's a great song, but like, I don't think we need to go in that direction. I mean, like, we didn't have, you know, Michael Jackson topping the charts with Billie fucking Jean is not my bitch, and, you know, we didn't have Diana Ross, you know, upside motherfucking down, boy, you motherfucking turn me inside fucking out. I mean, artists did not need to do that, you know. back in the day. And I just think, when you overuse profanity like that, people just kind of sound like idiots, and profanity loses its edge, so when you do drop an F-bomb, it just sounds like nothing. I mean, like fucking can just mean very. And I just kind of turns into ugly Bremerton talk, if you will. I mean, you see people walking around Bremerton and just little motherfucker and just like, come on, guys. And this isn't helping. I mean, I just don't want us to become that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am an atheist, and I use some words in my vocabulary that are not proper, church words, but I don't know. I just think we're getting carried away with it. So, yeah, there we have it. Beyonce, Renaissance, A.